Oh man, I think that the most recent strange one is we rebuilt a motor on a 1974 Indian 50cc. That whole bike would fit on this table in front of us, but we had to redo all the electronic components and we had to import them all from Italy. I couldn't get the exact one, so we were able to rebuild the stator with scooter components from a different, very similar bike that spun the opposite direction. We're kind of reverse engineering vintage parts to
Wow.
make that thing run, and it's a runner today.
My friends, welcome to the Utah Business Spotlight. I am here with my friend Austin from Salt City Builds. Man, you guys have heard of them. They're the original. They are the gangsters of taking motorcycles and just pieces of equipment and machinery that nobody else wants to touch and recreating them into something ridiculously special. These guys are absolutely gangsters at this stuff. I've seen a bunch of their bikes. I love it. You're going to see pieces of their shop where we're just going to look at hundreds and hundreds of bikes. Here's what's interesting about Austin. He is just unassuming, but man, when you start putting wrenches in his hand and bikes in front of him, you get this creative giant, and that's what these guys do, and they're committed to making sure that you're on the road. Hey, this is the Utah Business Spotlight. I need you to like, I need you to subscribe, I need you to share this. I need you to give shout outs to Austin. Austin, welcome to the show, baby.
Thanks, Peter. Thanks for having me.
Oh, dude, it is an honor. You guys are killing it. You had some bikes out last week that I was just going bananas over. And I love what you do. I love how you do it. Tell us how you got started.
Oh man, I mean, it started as a kid on a dirt bike. Dad started us off when we were 4 years old on old Hondas, and kind of brings us. It never left my life, and it kind of brings us back to what we're doing now, where we're playing with vintage bikes because it was always old leftover stuff, and now we kind of fill the market where most shops won't deal with this old vintage stuff, and the skill and the knowledge to work on them is disappearing, and we're here to keep them going.
I love it. So tell us about some of your favorite brands.
I mean, we're not really loyalists to anything. We specialize in like vintage Japanese, so your old Hondas that everybody grew up with, Kawasaki, Suzuki, Yamahas. But we step well outside of that as well. I'm not afraid of a Harley. We just finished up a Harley this morning. We just did a build out on a 2006 fuel injected Harley. I don't know if people even know that we kind of dabble beyond that. We also do Ducatis, vintage and fairly modern. There's a point of modern that we don't do, but we'll do full restoration on Ducatis, Bultacos, Montesas, a lot of brands that
Man,
people
you had a
haven't heard
Montesa
of.
the other day that was just so cool looking. I
That
took
one
a
was
photo
cool.
of it.
That one was special to work on too. That was a 1977 Capra 360. Only 100 of those were imported to the U.S. in that year. That customer has two of them, and I can't personally say I've seen another one in the U.S.
It was really, really cool. You guys did a fantastic job. Started right up. It looked like it was fun to ride. I didn't get to ride it,
Absolutely.
but other people were. And I was just like, wow, this is cool, man.
That was cool. And we happened to be at an event where, we had Supercross World Championships were in town last week, and a couple of the pro riders got to see it, and they were excited and going, hey, can we ride this in the race tomorrow?
I know. And there's some interesting things, right? Because when you get a bunch of people together that are really into a sport and into the restoration and componentry of that sport and the history of it, you must get some really cool, interesting bikes that no one ever gets to see or work on in your space, man. That's just that for a dude who loves this stuff, that's just the holy grail.
It keeps it fun and interesting. It's also very difficult because we're constantly shifting gears, having to switch distributors, having to track down parts. I take pride in being good at tracking down the strangest and the weirdest of the parts. But
What's the strangest part?
Oh man, I think that the most recent strange one is we rebuilt a motor on a 1974 Indian 50cc. That whole bike would fit on this table in front of us. But we had to redo all the electronic components, and we had to import them all from Italy. I couldn't get the exact ones, so we were able to rebuild the stator with scooter components from a different, very similar bike that spun the opposite direction. We're kind of reverse engineering vintage parts to make that thing run, and it's a runner today.
Oh, that's cool, man. And it's a motorcycle?
Yeah. It's meant for a tiny child.
Really?
It's probably one of the smallest motorcycles. We'll have to clip in some video of that thing because it's really cool.
That's really neat, man. So you have this little baby Indian. Tell me something else that was really cool that you just enjoyed. Tell me something that you wish you could have kept and were so brokenhearted to give back to the owner.
Oh man, that's a difficult question because I think it's every other day there's a bike like that where you're like, I'd like to keep this, but I also personally have held on to a few too many bikes. I'd say I regret getting rid of my 75 Yamaha DT 250. It's a very unassuming bike, but it's just the most fun. Getting into bikes from the 70s that were just, there's no computers, everything's really simple and mechanical, and I just think simple is beautiful when it comes to the design on those things.
Yeah, I was when I first got into bikes, I think one of my first bikes was a CB 1100F, and it's a red, white, and blue Honda, just cool. It was a big boy, very heavy, but
I'm
sporty
familiar.
looking.
I was like, that actually reminds me of like a customer bike that I tried to buy off of him multiple times, but it's a CB 750. But it was built, it's a chopper. It was built in the early 70s.
Mm-hmm.
And someone had chromed the frame before they did all this molding. In today's dollars, I don't know how to even think of the number of dollars it would take to recreate it today. We're in the middle of rebuilding the motor on it right now. And the customer, he inherited it from his father. There's no way he'll ever sell it to me. Said, okay, fine. I guess we'll just fix it for you.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Tell me about, have you ever, I'm sure you've come across those. Remember those old gold wings with the Wankel engines? Did you ever get any of those?
Gold Wings would be a boxer engine, not a Winkle, but we have done.
What are the
both.
Ones with the ones with the Wankels?
Winkle would be like a Suzuki RE5 is a rotary motor.
Mm-hmm.
We have done. It's been a number of years. Those are pretty rare, but we've done some custom carb work on a rotary motor as well. Those are
interesting motor to put on a motorcycle, right?
Absolutely. It never really caught on in mass production, but
but in
the
the
power
70s.
and the sound is absolutely like out of this world. Like just never heard anything like it.
So what should people be looking for if they want to pick one of those up and they see it?
Oh,
because it's not going to be a lot of money because people aren't even working on them.
Yeah, most of the time people aren't working on them. You got to be careful about. I like the classics that still have a following and parts availability, and something that's sentimental and speaks and is important to you. And we do a lot of this is my father's bike, this is my grandfather's bike, this is my mother's or grandmother's bike as well. That happens all the time.
Cool.
But I'm like sentimental and nostalgic is kind of something that's hard to
we
pick
love
out for someone else.
Those old Happy Days Triumphs that the Fonz used to drive.
Oh, absolutely. I have one myself.
You do?
Yeah, I got a 1970 TR6 that's all frame up restored.
Super cool bikes, right?
Absolutely.
Don't handle very well, but they're fun. I mean, in comparison to today's
I was going to say technology has moved so far. At the same time, we do a lot of we do some vintage desert racing, and we go out on these old bikes, and it's amazing how fast and competitive some old guys on some old Triumphs still are today. To where if you're not a great rider, they'll let you know.
That's awesome, man. And are you? So you have? I already know that you have a collection of your own, right? How do you stop yourself? Like we our last guest, we both collect watches, and I'm like, I just don't know how to stop. Right?
Well, I'm not sure you should. I'd say that for me, every once in a while, I find the need to sell one to either fund the next big crazy project that falls in your lap, or just don't have the garage space anymore. Luckily, I have a shop that gets to house a couple extra for me, and my personal garage doesn't have to have everything in it.
And so where is your shop? Let's tell everybody where they can find you.
In South Salt Lake. We're just we're at 2212 Southwest Temple, number 41. It's just off of like 2100 South and West Temple.
Oh, I know
South
the
Salt
area.
Lake.
Sure.
Yeah.
Super cool.
We're near a track stop over in that area.
I love it, man. And do you have children?
I do not. Well, I have a small puppy that's currently at the shop right now that the guys are watching for me right now. I have a little Aussie, my Prince of Barkness.
My friends, I love it. I always thought when I started buying Porsches and motorcycles and toys, I had no children, and I didn't start having children until I was in my 40s. So and then at that point I thought, well, I probably need to liquidate this stuff because I'm never going to have children. So who am I holding it on for, right? And now I'm like, oh my gosh, that 1990 Porsche, or, some of the bikes I had, I really, really love them. I remember my father's, my best friend's fathers always would go on these tours across Canada, and we lived in New York, so they go from Canada. They go from New York to Seattle, but they go up through Canada.
Awesome.
Seattle.
I'd like to do that one on a motorcycle.
Yeah, it's just a tremendous amount of fun. But that's how I learned about the Gull Wings and those Wankel engine bikes, because that's the ones that they would take. Those big touring
the
bikes.
Gold Wings. I'm like I don't actually enjoy working on Gold Wings, but they're amazing bikes to ride. The design on those got a little more like a car to me.
Yeah.
Like I said, I like the simple is beautiful approach versus they have every bell and whistle you can imagine on them.
Yeah.
It's kind of the opposite direction that we focus on.
Do you do a lot of cafe racers?
We did.
It was a trend for a minute.
Yeah, I was
right?
going to say, when they were really hot, we built a lot of cafe racers. We still take care of a lot of them. Our builds now are a little more focused on restoration, trying to either keep the value or bring back some more nostalgia. The cafe racer trend is kind of came and went for the most part. There's still some love for it. I got another one coming down the pipeline, but we've kind of graduated from doing leftover Honda cafe racers to I'll have a Ducati cafe racer custom build come out in the next year or so.
That sounds like fun. They make such a great machine.
Oh yeah,
we love Ducatis.
Absolutely.
Tell me about just me looking through it. Share with me. Do you ever get? There's been so many reality shows on motorcycles, right? Do any of those ever come across your shop? Something that was custom made, but then just never actually made to run? Because a lot of them looked good, but they never were really made to ride. And then people buy them and they think they're going to ride them, and then they can't even. They're like, dude, you only have a 6-ounce gas tank. You know that, right?
No, things like that happen all the time. I'm like, I don't know about the reality TV approach, but a lot of people are familiar with the Mecum auctions or the Barrett Jackson auctions, where you can buy all these vintage collectibles. And we get a lot of bikes that are coming straight from Mecum in Las Vegas has a big motorcycle event every year, and we get a lot of bikes from there, and they're beautiful. A lot of cosmetic work, and quite often we find the engine to be 1960 and left underwater on the inside. If you're buying a bike at auction, you want to make sure that it runs, or just bring me with you.
That's more fun. I've been to those. We lived in Vegas for about 8 years, and those auctions are so much fun.
And there's a lot of good bikes there. I'm not saying that they're all bad, but it's unfortunate how many people buy them going, oh yeah, it runs. And I'm like, maybe barely, or like we rebuilt it and it's not as rebuilt to the level that myself and our other mechanics would take it.
I love it. And tell me, give us 3 of your Grail bikes. If you can have any 3 bikes, give me a 3 bike collection that would satisfy you. And these are the only 3 bikes you can have.
Only 3 bikes I can have. We talk about this a little bit. My Harley FXR, which I have had one for over a decade. Best Harley ever made, as far as I'm concerned. That's on my list. I'd say
So a Harley
a
FXR.
Harley FXR. That's my
What
touring.
year?
1990 to 94.
Okay.
That's the sweet spot for him. That's my touring bike option. Adventure bike option, I'd say a KTM 950. It's like the last adventure bike that was carbureted.
KTM 950.
Yep.
What year?
Um,
Year range.
This has got to be like around.
Do you take it
around
over a BMW?
2005. Absolutely. BMW is too big in the dirt.
Okay.
KTM. You got to be very tall to ride the KTM 950. I'm not even sure that I am.
It sits high.
It sits very, very tall. It's hard to get a bike that can do everything to be approachable for everyone. What other bikes? I got to have a third.
Just a quick daily driver.
Quick daily. Well, everything can be a daily if you try hard enough.
Yeah.
I love my Husqvarna 701, which is also KTM. That's probably my most do-it-all bike. If I only had to have one, that's probably my one. But as far as a holy grail, I'm like, we have a 916 in the shop right now. I'd have to say 916 Ducatis on my holy grail list for sure.
Really?
Yeah.
What does something like that run? What can you find a good one for?
I've seen one. You got to go to auction. Iconic Motorbike Auctions has a 916 SBS up for auction right now. I expect that bike to go somewhere around 20 grand.
Oh, okay. So it's not unattainable.
It's not unobtainable. There's not a lot of places that'll work on it though. We happily will.
But you're one of them.
We happily will. If you have a Ducati that's a little older than the dealership will deal with, we're happy to work on them.
It's interesting, right? Because you think because you're buying a brand that if you take it to a dealer, they'll work on it. But even with vintage watches, a lot of the dealers won't work on them.
No, and I think they're legally required to work on stuff that's like within the last 5 years. But the way I put it is a dealership's there to sell you a bike, and we're here to fix your bike. It's just a different business approach.
I love it, man. What are your favorite color schemes?
Oh, every bike's got a different flavor. I'd say that if we're doing like a custom build, sometimes the bike just kind of speaks to you and what it should be. And I love the original 70s colors, and they were doing candy and flake right from the factory.
Cool, right?
Absolutely.
So cool. Love that. And I've always personally been, for Japanese bikes, I love Hondas. I just think they're super cool. Generally, I loved riding Hondas just because I just fit. I have short legs. I always found them to be lower to the ground. And I have a long torso. So they just fit me. I dug it. What's your favorite ride? Where did you go? Where have you been that you said, man, this was just a great ride?
In the last year, I'd say my favorite was I'd never ridden the Smoky Mountains before up in Idaho, and a couple of friends, we were actually going to a motorcycle show in Boise, and instead of taking I-15 straight up there, I-15 across Idaho is terribly boring and desolate, but if you cut off it and head straight north, there's some beautiful winding roads through the Smoky Mountains. Oh, you're going to, where the GPS tells you. I don't remember off the top of my head, but I say you get an hour or two out of, just get a little bit out of Utah, and then you head straight north instead of northwest towards Boise. And I'm like, I'm gonna forget the name of these roads right now, but
that area you really enjoyed it.
Yeah, I'm like Smoky Mountains. That was probably the best one last year. But don't forget that Southern Utah's got some of the best riding in the world.
Yeah.
And we do right in our backyard here. My little brother came to visit in the last week, and we went and just rode East Canyon. He couldn't believe you can go straight from 800 south in downtown Salt Lake City, and you can just keep going up and up and up into the mountains until you're at 10,000 feet. It's
truly a great place to be an enthusiast, especially a vintage enthusiast. I'm super grateful that you guys are actually working on these bikes so that we can all keep them in our families.
Absolutely.
It's real, real cool. All right. 2 things. First, what do you tell the young entrepreneurs out there, somebody who wants to follow something? Because no one wakes up and says, oh, okay, cool, I'm going to start a vintage repair shop, and you might, but it's a tough call. You're killing it, which we love. What should someone do? Should they follow their passion?
I'd say for myself, I stay stubborn. Anybody that's been a naysayer or less than encouraging is probably figuring out how to turn that into a motivator is probably the best thing that I've ever done for myself.
So stay stubborn.
Stay stubborn. Tell me I can't do it. I'll prove you wrong.
Oh, I love that. I love that. The last question that I have is this, and it's simple. What was your most complicated build
Oh,
that you thought you'd never get through and you were happy to get rid of it?
That's a tough one. That's a tough one because I think that the hardest ones, when you do finally get it figured out, becomes your favorite.
So the hardest ones become your favorite ones that you don't want. You bond with that bike.
Absolutely. I'm like, I have a 68 Ducati 350. It's a bevel head, and there's not a lot of literature, for some of these lesser known 60s bikes. So that one, just had to go, okay, what do I understand about how an engine works, and what can I make for parts, and what's available. There was not a lot of help. There's no one to call, and just
even with the internet,
stay stubborn. And so I want to ride this thing and figure it out.
That's so cool. Austin, man, thank you so much. We could talk bikes forever.
Oh, absolutely.
This was amazing. Where can people find you again, baby?
Hit us up on Instagram, Salt City Builds. Check out our work. Best way to get a hold of us is to call the shop or just show up.
What's the number?
801-810-9794. We're at Salt City Builds on Instagram. And you can also show up at the shop. We're open Monday through Friday, 10 to 6 in South Salt Lake.
I love it,
without
man.
fail.
Get there, Salt City Builds, baby. Austin, ask for him. He is rocking it out. And if you have a vintage bike that you thought was hopeless, that's the place to take you to, because he stays stubborn.